Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for chapters 11 through 17 of Able-Bodied Soldier. So we're about halfway through this book, and we're still in training Leonard. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can see what the writers are trying to do here. They want us to get invested in the team building aspect of this and, have Titus be the leader. And I'm totally on board with that. I'm kind of a little surprised we're still in the training mode of this. How did you feel when you got through these chapters and realized we're still in training?
Uh, yeah. Um, this whole thing about the training thing makes sense if you have 5 more books to go. You know what I mean? And if we're looking at the perspective of a storytelling of a introduction of the conflict and resolution of the conflict with inside a book in a bigger world, it's slow. All right. To be honest with you, I got bored, but at the same time, I was very intrigued regarding how everyone works together. I feel like I don't know. I hate to say this, but it reminds me of Top Gun, based on all the insulting, the name calling. You're not better than me. I'm better than you. Attitude. It feels like Top Gun, a loose Top Gun with a hint of a hot shot. You know what I mean? But the trading aspect of this whole thing makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, too, it felt that the story is like, okay, we have a system, we have tactics, but unfortunately the tactics was before the accident, and before the accident they used the tactics based on fighter pilots, but unfortunately Titus even said several times, guys, we have legs, we can do ground pounding here. And I think regarding why he's there actually makes a lot of sense, especially for for this chapter reading is he's saying that the reason why I'm here is to give a different perspective, right? And is it this is where it gets a little confusing in my end. If this mech robot things that they have is designed to do two things, can be flown or can be used as a ground pounder, as a soldier, right? As a mech suit. But
Did you find it a little confusing?
yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying.
so I think of battle tech when I'm thinking of this, where they have jump jets, right? And so there's a difference between something that transforms into more of an aircraft rather than a jump jet. Now, the jump jet gives you like a boost, like you're able to jump far, but you're not really staying up in the air. And I found it a little confusing in the reading, saying, are they actually flying? Because it seems like they're just flying around, like they're like Astro Boy or something like that,
Yeah,
flying
yeah.
around. And I mean, the listeners are all like, "What are they talking about?" Yeah, this is, we're aging ourselves, we're whatever,
Yes.
but we're just talking about, a physical mechanical beast that can fly by either jets on their back or jets on their feet or something, and the aerodynamics of being able to actually fly around like a fighter plane, which does not seem to be what's described in the book. And so I get jump jets. I don't get this aerial cover for them being like fighter jocks up in the air, flying around, covering them on the ground, because that kind of eliminates their purpose. Because if you want cover in the air, you have dedicated fighter pilots who have fighters that are supposed to be up in the air defending you. So I'm a little confused as to why they're mixing those two genres together. I would have preferred if they just stick to the ground and have Titus do what he says he's doing, making them in the ground pounders, which these pilots are not, and they have a real serious problem with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is where I was a little. I agree with you 100%. I was. This is what I'm saying. I'm a little confused regarding what those mechs, the mech bots are capable of doing. And there's one point they're flying, and the other ones they're walking. The other ones they're skimming on the ground, right? And it feels like I feel like there's a confusion regarding the technology, right? And this is actually a good thing though, because like we said, the last three chapters we've been reading is all about the training. It's literally training and trying to figure out what they're capable of doing. And as soon as they keep going to figure out what they're doing, I'm getting more confused of what they're actually capable of doing. You know what I mean? So I felt like that the book itself, or even the storyline itself, got muddy, in my opinion.
Well, training has been going on for 11 chapters.
Yes, yes,
I specifically looked at it. And you know what? I'm going to be real fair here. A lot of that is team cohesion. Dylan is a jerk. He's a hothead. He's like a maverick kind of jerk guy who, you really don't want to like. He does his own thing. But during these chapters, yeah, Dylan's the dick, sure, but there's these other characters that are good people that we don't really seem to get a lot of information about. And it seems that what the writer's trying to do is develop this cohesive team that we're invested in during their training. And yet I don't necessarily feel that because he keeps on focusing on Dylan, who's the dick. Okay, Dylan's the dick. I get it. Like, don't focus on it so much unless there's gonna
yeah.
be unless he's gonna like it's I mean, we don't know. Maybe Dylan is critical to the story later on. I'm not sure. But it feels like there's a lot of time being given to Dylan, which I don't need to be convinced he's a dick. He's a dick. I just don't get why we're spending so much time on him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the purpose of Dylan is to provide an opposite reaction, or an opposite person to Titus. And the biggest, again, I'm going back to this over and over again. The biggest issue I have is, especially the last, you said 11 chapters, that they're the characters are being developed. Fine, that's perfect. We got a little bit of a history. Perfect. And we have a little history regarding the unit itself. Perfect. We have we have a timeline regarding everything has to be ready to test out this new thing in battle in 3 weeks. Fine, that makes sense. It sucks, but it makes sense. In the same time, too, Titus went to the general. Is like, hey, we need to bring this thing out in the open and start using this properly, because we can't do training simulation and we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Doesn't matter how good the simulation is. Real world is real world. It's real world. And I definitely understand that. I definitely agree with him 100% on that one, right? But the money keeps showing up. He said several times too that this thing's cost more money. It's like, fine, costs money, but war costs money. You need to test this so people won't die. They can go back and do it again. So there's a fine line of like paper pusher and accountants running the program. And the same time too, the general is like, well, there's accountants and there's reality. I have to find in the middle, but the soldiers and the pilots are saying, "Hey, we need to figure this out, how to do this properly." But they're being held back, and that's 11 chapters of holding back. So it's just really. In other words, I got bored. I literally had to push myself finishing this off. But at the same time, I kind of understand why they're in training. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, can we just move on? So I think that's my
like I said, I can understand that they want to develop them as a cohesive team. And, in the middle of these chapters, Titus is like, give me command. I'm going to show you the deal. And the colonel's like, you're out if you fail, which is kind of like, is
it's
that really fair?
predictable.
Because you're the colonel. It's on you. So what you're going to do is, if he's like, this is the direction and he fails, you're going to use him as a scapegoat to be like, it wasn't my fault. It was this guy's fault. Like
Yes, yes,
that's like,
yes. You're
that's
right.
like,
You're
but
right.
anyway, you're right. You're right. So, and then, so we have him taking on the leadership role, which I was hoping for. I told you that in the last episode, which is great. We get into the simulated battle and his tactics are working, but Dylan's being the jerk and not following the rules and doing stupid shit. It's funny thing because Dylan's not a team player. And you get this a lot it's interesting when you get, a lot of alpha people, and a lot of alpha people are pilots and so forth, because they have to be very good at what they do. But then again, if you're not a team player, what is the point? And even with pilots and so forth, if you're not a team player, you are looked down upon. And so I don't there's not I think there's not enough backlash at Dylan in my mind from the colonel or some other poke or whatever authority figure to justify everything. He's like a maverick, always doing whatever the hell he wants, never gets criticized except for by Titus. He's off the rails. But I think that what I like to see coming up is I really want us to get out of training. It's like half the book is over, you know.
Yeah, it
Like I mean, yeah. Well, there are 3 books planned for this, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's not enough problem. But if you're looking at it, we're reviewing this book. We are not reviewing the whole thing as a whole. We're reviewing this book, chapter by chapter,
like a normal
and
reader.
like a no, yeah. So this is how I'm feeling like we're at the stage where the book really could stagnate. I'm worried about it. I'm worried that it's gonna stay because if we do another like 18 to 20 whatever we have for reading is like if that's all training still, I'm gonna be like, whoa, man, 70% of the book should not be training, you know?
Yeah, I think the last episode I was hoping that this episode would be talking about them going to fight, trying out new things, trying out their tactics, see what's going on, weed out the problematic, test it on the field. But I felt like they're holding back. Like if I'm part of this world, I'm Titus and I'm the rest of the pilots, I'll be like, this is the most dumbest thing I've ever seen. I can fly, but you're telling me that I have to run now. Okay, I can't remember who it was, but they actually said several times, if I want to run, or why do we have everything? We have pilots here. Why can't we just fly and just scrape the enemies down? Like, dude, if you want to do that, go back to the Air Force. You
It's
know?
complicating something. It's complicating something that I don't really understand needs to be complicated. Maybe they're going to explain it because they've been trying to integrate this into philosophies of fighting, which I get. And I mean, anytime they're describing this, I'm thinking battle tech. I mean, I gave the Avatar example before, but that's really out of my mind now because as we've gone through these chapters, we're doing the actual battle tactics. It feels very BattleTech, and even in BattleTech, they have jump jets. They don't have uh, the ability to fly around and drop ordnance on targets, which is what Dylan was doing in the I think the last chapter.
Yeah, he was
But
doing
and I mean,
discoveries.
I was thinking like, what is the point? Have them in a jet, and I mean, it's combined forces is what they call it, right? Combined forces. If that's what you want to do, integrate air cover with your ground forces and have these guys just be ground pounders. It's something that seems that doesn't need to be there. I wonder if they're gonna flush it out in the next few chapters, but it seems like something that it doesn't need to be there because it complicates something that doesn't need to be complicated. You get more conflict by the enemy ruling the sky in some moment. It gives you more conflict than saying to half your guys, okay, you go up, be planes now. I'm going to stay down here. Why do you need Air Force now? Like, it doesn't really click with me very much.
So in other words, I don't want to criticize this book too early. I know, as you said, there's about three books to go, and I do want to see what happens throughout this universe, this series itself. But there's enough for me to say yes. There is enough information for me to look forward to their next episode. But at the same time, I feel like it's the characters are okay. Let me start over again here. Do you agree or disagree that characters are flushed out as of right now, based on what we've read so far? Are the characters flushed out enough to say yes?
Only
I know
only
exactly what they're
Titus and
talking about.
Dylan. Only Titus and Dylan. Those are the only 2 characters. Maybe the captain, maybe because they've sort of mentioned him several times and he's not a good leader and he wants to be a pilot still or a mech driver or whatever. Maybe we have 2 or 3, but we're talking about a cast of about, I'd say 8 to 10 in total that is in his crew. And like the majority of them, we know their names, but no, we don't know them. So I'd say the answer is no.
So you feel like, okay, okay, that's fine. I agree with you in that one as well too. I agree with the assessment that there's enough information for me to go forward with the going through the training, reading about the training, reading about the complexity of each other's relationship. That's fine. I have all that information, but it feels like if our next three does not give me any action, my review at the end of this book will be very low. That's all I'm saying. I'm predicting next episode will be talking about some type of battle. Right? Hopefully they jump 3 weeks after this. The 3 weeks. Derek, I'm only asking for skip 3 weeks in their training. Give me something to say, hey, I want to know what's happening, because at the end of our last chapter that we read, they just finished doing their simulation run. They're finished doing their thing, right? So there's more. So they're done. They're done doing Titus's training. I want to know what their comments are. I want to know what kind of criticism some of the team members has, the leadership has. I want to know all that. After that, that's one chapter. I want to hear that in one chapter. After that, I want to see something else. That's what I'm hoping for in our next three. The next episode we'll be talking about that. What's your opinion on that? Am I right? Are you asking for the same thing what I'm asking for?
I want to see not necessarily. I sort of disagree with you in a sense. I want to see more character development, because I see what the writers are trying to do. They're trying to get us to invest in this team that are training together. And I want to invest in that. And so I want them to cohesively put this team together and have them out. Yes, I want some action. Yes, certainly. Um, but what I want is maybe I should be more clear. I want the plot to move along a little more. Like, I want there to be some external conflict other than, if you think about it, what is the main driving force for the last 11 chapters? It's the military needs to sign off and we use these guys in combat. That is a lot of time to spend on that one goal, that one conflict, that one objective to have in the book, right? And once we get past that, which hopefully will happen next chapter, I really hope. What's next? And as you say, you love battles. You love the fighting, you love the battles. That's great. I just want the characters after 11 chapters to be more clear to me. Like, we're talking half the book here, and I don't need it to be some deep into their soul. I just need to know what kind of personalities they are. Two of the guys that were originally with him are nice guys. We know that. One is sort of technically minded. I didn't remember the guy's name. That's
That's
how
that.
forgettable
Yeah,
the characters were.
he's the
And so,
IT
but I
guy,
know who
AI
the
guy.
yeah, I got yeah, exactly. But I think, to be fair, you're focusing on your main character, Titus. Great, wonderful. But if it feels like the whole purpose was to gather those together, and I don't know if I feel like they achieved that.
Yeah, like Titus is reminding me of the again. Forgive me. Remind me of the character from Avatar, with that couldn't walk, that's stuck in a wheelchair. He reminds me of him. He is a Titus is a soldier. Since day one, he's always been a soldier. He's been fighting this for a while, right? He lost his legs, right? He exercised himself. He got his back, and he got himself back the way he wants it to be, to fight again. I 100% respect that. It works very well in story. I love that character. I love that part of the character. Okay, as soon as he started going to the training, this is when I start feeling this is another guy trying to prove something for himself, right? And they didn't make it easy for him. That's fine. He understood that. He didn't ask for any modification. He didn't ask for any special treatment. He didn't ask for any of that. That's fine. That tells me that the character is very well driven. Okay. The one that really annoys the crap out of me, he said several times that it's not my, I'm not going to take over because I'm not going to, I don't know what's happening. It's not my job. I have a feeling he did the it's not my job routine until push come to shove. He finally said, okay, you know what? Someone, as soon as they tell him that if this doesn't work, he's going to go back to he's going back to reality. This is when he said, oh crap, I need to work on this now. Right? Throughout the whole training, it's like, I'm not here for a hand-me-down. He's literally doing that. He's literally trying to go throughout the motions to go back to his normal self again, quote unquote normal. But as soon as and he keeps saying that it's not my job, it's not he's not, I'm not the team leader, he should be doing this better, blah blah blah. He's complaining constantly. Finally, someone said, okay, if this group doesn't work, everyone's out. That's when he realized, oh crap, I have to do something now. It took 11 chapters to figure that out, Derek. 11 chapters. It's like, if this is the guy that the general or whatever wants him to be, why did it took 11? Why not just say something? Why not, like, if you're trying to get him to discover that he is supposed to be the real leader, it's like you're literally gambling now. That's why that's the most frustrating part of this whole for the past 11 chapters is that for not 11, that's not fair, but the past 6 chapters.
He brought him out. I mean, he brought him in because he wanted his ground pounding experience, and he was always the person to be selected. And oddly enough, not that I disagree with it, that the other people that were going to work with him, all the other pilots had to sort of sign off on him, which from a selection process, if you're putting your lives in somebody's hand, I understand that. But the colonel was always somebody who was basically like, he's in unless he screws up. Like, I don't think that was ever really in doubt.
That sounds like it, though. If that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I see your point.
Right.
But
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think that when we're talking about how his character's development is going, I like his character development. I like the fact he stands up for himself. I like the fact he's not letting his disability interfere. I like the fact that he's fighting through it. I like the fact he's confident of, this is what I know. This is what I'm good at. This is what I can do. This is what moron Dylan just doesn't know how to do, right? And I want to see more of that in the next few chapters. Join us next time as we review chapters 18 through 23 of Able-Bodied Soldier. Thank you for opening the book with us today. Subscribe so you won't miss our next episode. We would love to hear from you. Share a review or email us at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.